Former President Jacob Zuma will be joining his legal team at the Pietermaritzburg High Court today. Now, this as lead prosecutor Billy Downer will hear whether he will be recused from the corruption trial involving the former President Zuma. Joining us now from the Pietermaritzburg High Court is our Newzroom Afrika editor, Dianne Hawker. Dianne, good morning to you. We're edging closer to the resumption of the court proceedings. Who do you have with you?
Yes, good morning, Toli. Just a few minutes now until that judgment begins here in court, and I'm sure that you can hear there's a bit of a buzz in the passageway outside the courtroom here. Some members of the public who have special interest tags will be joining in court, as well as the head of the Zuma Foundation, Mr. Manyi, here to actually witness these proceedings. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Mr. Manyi. Obviously a big day for the former president's legal team as well as for his supporters. What's your prediction for today's proceedings?
Well, it's not about predictions. We are always here expecting justice, but whether we get it is another thing. We think our case is cut and dry. We think that Advocate Mbofu made a very solid case for...
Mr. Manyi, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're actually seeing that the former president is returning to court. We'll pick up with you just in a few minutes, but we just want to get these shots of him entering court, re-entering court. Toli, you see that the former president is here. He came in a few minutes earlier on, and now he's joined by his security detail, returning to the court. He looks like he's in good spirits, actually greeting some people outside of the courtroom who have been waiting here to see him in that what's now become a signature greeting of that elbow-to-elbow greeting.
Dianne Hawker, the people watching these visuals will be asking themselves, if the former president was let out of jail, and unfortunately this is one story that is going to continue to follow the former president, if he was let out of jail as a result of ill health, he looks to be in good spirits, as you have observed. How does Jimmy Manyi respond then to the suggestions that he has been accorded special treatment?
Well, we're actually going to try and get back to Mr. Manyi now. If I can ask my colleague Lungelo to just follow me. Mr. Manyi, sorry, we had to cut you short there as you were speaking. You know, the former president looking like he's quite in good spirits, greeting some people. What would you say his health condition is? Because I think, you know, a lot of people are wondering, he was let out on that medical parole, but he seems to be in relatively good health.
Yeah, I think one of the things that must be done in society is to educate people about medical parole. The impression given is that when you are in medical parole, you can't even walk, you are crippled, you can't do stuff, and so on. That's not the case. Also, it's not only for the terminally ill only. You can be ill and meet certain conditions of illness and all of that. So His Excellency President Zuma meets those conditions of illness that only doctors can go into details with, and which qualify him to be on medical parole. So for him to be working despite being on medical parole, there's absolutely nothing sinister about that. People that understand the law know that there's no issues about that.
And Mr. Manyi, I mean, today is actually quite a big day here in terms of the outcomes for the case. It will decide whether the case continues or doesn't. Is that the reason why the former president has decided to come to court? Initially we thought he wasn't going to come, but this morning there seemed to be a change. What was behind that change?
No, most definitely President Zuma, as a person that really generally respects court processes and all of that, and he woke up today feeling like he can come, and he decided to come. You must remember that he was really no under obligation to come. Today was merely for noting the judgment. So it's not like he's going to be asked any question, he's not going to be cross-examined, nothing. He's going to sit there and note the judgment and all of that. So an attorney could have done this without him. But out of respecting court processes, he said, well, I'm going to come. And so he came.
And earlier on I had asked you about your prediction or what you anticipate will happen. If you could just give us an idea from your perspective and from the foundation's perspective, what are you anticipating will take place today?
We really hope that for once, we must get justice today, because the case that has been put out there by Advocate Mpofu is quite strong, that they're entitled to prosecute by both Downer and the NPA in general. They lack all of that. So the court today must pronounce that the case that has been put forward must succeed. So in other words, we are hoping for a favorable outcome to it. But you can never know what happens in these courts. Something can be very straightforward, but courts can turn around and say, no, because it's you, we're not going to apply normal procedures, because it's you. These things, we've become accustomed to them.
But Mr. Manya, I'm not sure if this is a straightforward case as you're placing it, and the court does seem to have applied normal procedures thus far, accommodating Mr. Zuma as much as possible, and there's been quite a lot of argument allowed from both sides. So, is it really a normal procedure issue, or more of a weighing of the sides of the different arguments?
Where have you seen a case that lasts for almost 20 years and still think there will be justice in that case? This thing has been dragging for 20 years. The NPA itself, the ones that are behind this thing, the 1 minute they say the case is off, the 1 minute they say the case is on, the 1 minute they delay, they do all funny things. So indeed, this case has got everything but justice. There hasn't been justice in the entire process. President Zuma has been persecuted from day one on this case. So we hope that today will be the beginning of the end of the persecution of His Excellency President Zuma.
Okay. Well, there you have it, Koli. A spokesperson for the Jacob Zuma Foundation, Mr. Mzwanele Manyi, claiming that there's been persecution and hoping that justice will be prevailed. He's talking about those delays that we've seen in the case. Of course, we know the case has been delayed for various reasons, partly also due to some court challenges that were brought by the former president himself, so not only owing to the NPA, and hopefully today's judgment will see it actually proceeding in one way or the other.
Hawker, that's our editor here at Newzroom Afrika. Thank you very much for the time being. Let's stay in Pietermaritzburg High Court. The members of the MKMVA arriving at the Pietermaritzburg High Court ahead of the court proceedings. Let's get a sense of what is happening outside court. Karinda Jagmohan is there. Karinda, what are you seeing from your end?
Indeed, while we were anticipating that a handful of supporters would come out to the Pietermaritzburg High Court, and indeed they've come. These are members of an MKMVA branch from Nkandla, the homestead of the former President Jacob Zuma. I'm joined by one of the commanders here, Rakumede. Thank you for speaking to us, sir. You were just telling me about Zuma. You were telling me about the person that he is. Tell me about the interactions you've had with him. Why have you come all the way from Nkandla this morning to support him?
First of all, we must say, kubalulekile ukuthi sisho ukuthi ukuba kwethu seNkandla kusukela February kuze kube manje. It's not been easy, but anyway we are soldiers. Kumele ukuthi sidefendile organization yethu ANC. Kumele ukuthi kwenzekele izinto eziqondile. Ubaba Zuma is a very good man, very humble man. Intellectual, intelligent, wisdom is there in him, enlightenment is there in him. Empeleni uqukethe okuyona mongo ophethwe amakhosi akithi andulela kudala. Abokhi Ngcetshwayo, abokhi Hinsa, abokhi Sekhukhuni, all those humble men. Awo Eduardo Mondlana boMozambique. Sinayo lento ukuthi sabantu abamnyama. Ubaba Zuma kusekutheni manje kwenziwe into eqondile ngesimo sokuthi bahlukane nokwenza lezi zimo lezi abazenza around yena okungezona ijustice is not being served correctly ngesimo esenzakalayo. But samasotsha omkhonto wesizwe being there eNkandla all these months will still continue because the revolution still continues and it's got no time frame.
You describe and you liken Zuma to royalty almost, but tell me, he's facing 16 fraud and corruption related charges. How do you believe, and what makes you believe his innocence at this time?
No, Ubaba Zuma, he stands in a line of truth. Iqiniso namanga lihlangana. Izinto ezenzakalayo njengamanje na the country is in a situation whereby it is in a train of collapsing, let me say so. The judiciary, my pants of the judiciary are right here in their ankles right now. They are exposed to the core. What does it say to the masses in the country? But our sovereignty as a country, there have been such interference in it. There have been such interference in many ways in trying to collapse what we're trying to build as a country.
So the outcome of this could be that judgment is handed down where Zuma wins his appeal, the prosecutor is removed from this, or the prosecutor, Billy Downer, that Zuma accuses of being biased, stays. What would be your reaction if Zuma loses his appeal?
No, definitely he won't. Billy Downer is colluded of what he has been going on around. Akakwazi ukuba umshushisi kuleli cala njengamanje. Akakwazi. He must face the music of what he has done. He knows what he has done.
And just quickly, for how long will you continue coming to court from Nkandla?
No, we won't stop up until the revolution is achieved. First of all, we emphasize to the soldiers as in Johannesburg, there, what is going on there by what happened to there was no hostage. Again, we will keep on emphasizing this. The Minister of Defense stated clearly there was no hostage. Even in clips of the videos, we do see it. There was no hostage. Solidarity, we at heart, we are with those comrades over there. Justice must be done. MK soldiers have been suffering left, right, and center. Correct things never been done correctly to emancipate the lives of the MK, the APLA, and the Azanda soldiers, the liberation fighters. We must stand in the truth as Ubaba Zuma. So the country is over right. But just for nesicelayo i-ultimatum empeleni sithi thina uCodesa 3 kumele uhlale kubuyiswa ama-minutes kaCodesa 1 noCodesa 2 ukuze kuhlale uCodesa 3 kusombululwe lezi zinto. After lama-elections lawa, the local government elections, then we will go to the conference of the ANC and massively we will adopt and agree ukuthi kumele seCodesa 3 ukuze sisothathe lezi zinto zezo-sunset clause and other formations akhona collapse this country. We won't stop up until Codesa 3 sits.
Mr. Rangomeria, thank you so much for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure.
He has travelled from Nkandla to the Pietermaritzburg High Court. They have been camping outside Nkandla since February, and now he believes in and has full faith that Zuma will win this appeal. Judgment is expected to be handed down this morning by Judge Petkun regarding whether or not Billy Downer will stay as the lead prosecutor in this case.
Karinda Jagmohan, thank you very much.